In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make melodic tech house like this. Hi, my name is Vlad and I help music producers to turn their passion for making music into real business without spending years on figuring things out, stressing and overthinking. And before we start with the tutorial, guys, if you need help with music production, if you need a mentor and you really feel like you're not progressing, your tracks just don't sound as good as your favorite artist tracks. So if you want to become a full-time music producer, you want to turn your passion into a real business, just click the link down below, book a time for free strategy call, and let's work on your music together. So no more talking, and let's start with the tutorial. All right, so let's start with the low end, the kick, the bass as usual. So let me draw and explain the difference between a melodic tech house, melodic techno bass line. So usually for melodic techno, the bass line is sustained. So this is going to be melodic. And for the usual tech house track, it can be different, but usually it's a punchy bass line, which looks something like this. So it's not sustained. And basically, that is the difference. So in melodic tech house and melodic techno, we are utilizing the root note, the key of the track, and we can add some variations like something like this. So these are additional notes at the end of the bar. So this is going to be the variation. And if you look at my bass line, this is the variation. So mainly we are using the root note. In this case, it's E minor. And these three notes at the end of the loop is the variation. So let me play you one more time. And I also have a second layer for my bass line, and it's just a syncopated like tom, which you can find a lot in different recordings. So it sounds like this. And it just adds more groove. So if you listen with the drums, you will feel the groove the tom adds. And just once again. So we just want to add some additional elements, like maybe something here, maybe something here. So this is just an additional bass layer. So this is going to be the bass number 2. All right, guys, so I hope you understand everything with the low end. And now let's break down the main lead. And on its own, it sounds like this. Alright, so now guys, let me explain why it's better to have simpler repeating melodies than something very, very complex. And the reason is very, very simple. So let's pretend that this is the simple melody, and on top of melody, we want to have the kick, the bass, and some other elements. So what I want to do, I'm just going to draw a house. So let's pretend that this is the house, right? And the house is your track. And as you guys can see, it works because we have a strong foundation. So in this case, it's a simple melody and it's cool. So this is good. And the problem with complex melody is that you can't really build anything on top of the complex stuff, right? You see, it just doesn't work. So I'm going to cross this one. Let's use another color. So this is bad. This is bad. And you shouldn't do like this. I'm not trying to tell that having complex melodies is bad, but usually you want to have something more simple and that repeats over and over time. So I've tried to come up with an ugly complex melody just to show you guys a real life example. So let me play you the first version and we're gonna compare it to the simple melody. So this is the complex one. it sounds pretty okay, but what if we compare this one to the original version, the more repetitive, the simpler one? And once again, the second one. So you can really feel that it just doesn't work. It feels like something is wrong. And now let's take a look once again at the picture, guys. And this is why it's better to stick with simpler melodies. And now, guys, let's take a closer look at the filler elements. So I have the first lead sound. Unfortunately, I don't have the MIDI for this lead, but it sounds like this. Phrygian, Middle East, Arabic kind of vibe. Just love this. And I also have one more sound which just adds atmosphere to the track. And there's one more hit which sounds like that. And as you guys can hear, it plays together with the first lead. So when you stack different elements, so something like this, right? You get different parameters, different sounds characteristics of sound. So this one, for example, can be, you know, top end, and this one can be like low end, maybe mid, whatever. But the purpose of layering is just to stack multiple layers to get one more unique sound. Right, so you get the idea. You mix different elements in order to give. So you mix different elements in order to achieve more interesting sound at the end of the day. And I have some more filler elements, like this one. It's a housey chord and looks something like this. If you want to learn more about tech house music theory, I'm going to link a video somewhere up here, so make sure to go and watch it as well if you want to learn how to make housey chords. And the chord sounds like this. Really cool atmospheric sound, which sounds really nice because it creates a lush space in the background, right? And I have one more fill, and as you guys can see here, we are stacking the elements, so like this. And the first one, and all together. Really cool sound. And at the end of the loop, I have this power chord. So power chord is basically when we are utilizing the root notes. In this example is an E and a fifth. So it's either a B or R or A. So from A, it's B or A. And it sounds like this. Really cool sound. I just love it. And basically, what I'm trying to do with different elements, we are trying to, you know, to fill the track with different elements. So maybe something like this, maybe something like this. And every color is a different element. And we are just trying to make our track more interesting with these filler sounds. So let's listen to the loop, guys, and listen carefully how every single of these elements sounds in the context of the whole loop of the track and how it adds a specific vibe to the track, I would say. And now, guys, I'm going to mute the rest of the elements and I'm going to play just the main lead sound. So it sounds like this. And the reason why I've shown you this, guys, is simple. Because you don't need a lot of elements to make a nice track. So you really just need some, the main element. Maybe it's a lead sound, right? Let's just make the lead sound, right? And you have the low end, your kick, the bass, and on top of that you have the drums and effects. Drums plus effects. So basically you don't need a lot, and you've just heard it a couple of seconds ago that even without all of the elements, the track still sounds nice, powerful, deep, and interesting. So that is the thing, guys, because less is more, especially in music. It's always about the balance, because if you add too much sounds to your track, it's just not gonna work, right? This is not what we want to do. So guys, I hope it makes sense. And now let's talk about the drums. So the drums in this track, they are pretty complex. So let's now play just a clap. So that is the variation that comes at the end of the loop. So basically what we are trying to do with this little drum fill is we are trying to add more variation so we can start with the next loop. Because without the variation, it may sound weak, it may sound just not interesting. That's the thing, and this is why it's just crucial. It's very, very important to create smooth transitions between your drum loops, leads, and any kind of sound in your track. So always make sure that you have a nice transition, so it resolves in a good way. And the next thing is the hats, and for the hats it's really interesting. So we have the main layer, and these hats, they really add the groove. So without these, it sounds a bit boring to me. And now with the groove hats, so imagine that the red one is the additional groove elements like percussion, etc. Right? So that is the thing. And the black ones are the main drums, etc. So that is the thing. And if you look closer at the pattern, you will see exactly what I've just drawn on the diagram. And it's just the same thing with the shakers. So this is the main loop, the main shaker loop. And now, guys, listen carefully to these additional elements, because they really make up this groove of the whole track. And now, guys, look at this picture and you will see exactly what I was talking about. So we have the main drums, the main shakers, and we have the additional ones. So these ones, right? And this is where you can play around and experiment and just see what works for your tracks and come up with some, signature drum patterns or, as something like this. And finally, the last thing in this track is this drum loop, this ethnic drum I have recorded in my studio. And it really creates nice additional cool groove I wanted for this track. And the kick. And now let's listen to the groove. So that was it for today, guys. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel. Like this video, don't forget about the notification bell so you don't miss my future videos and important news, and leave a comment below. And a quick reminder, guys, the registration to my course is officially open. I've got some people on my waiting list. So if you want to become a full-time music producer, start making money with your music, all the links are down below. And if you have any questions or you'd like to get my help, talk to me one-on-one, just click the link down below, book a time for a free strategy call. call and let's work on your music together. Thank you very much guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.